Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So Activist Post has an article, How Interlinked Corporations Rule the World. We've seen now all of these mega corporations just get larger and larger and larger, snuffing out the little guy. Chris Cantham says, globalism is just like the mafia, but a lot more complex. And he says respectability. If you've watched mob films such as The Godfather, you can understand how the world works. For example, in Godfather 2, a bunch of mobsters get together in Havana, Cuba, to celebrate Hyman Roth's birthday. And as the birthday cake is symbolically cut into pieces and distributed, Roth tells the group how Cuba will be split up amongst the guests. Extrapolate this scene to the world, and you can visualize how the world works. Power structures of global elites, he says, is like nested Russian dolls made up of corporations. How many people realize that KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut are owned by the same corporation, or that HBO, CNN, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network all report to the same boss? Or that whether you drink Budweiser, Corona, Stella, Busch, or Michelob, and a dozen others, you end up paying one giant corporation. Now, who controls these corporations? Well, it's not the CEO, as most people believe. The real control lies in the hands of the largest shareholders and the board of directors. The board of directors of these giant corporations are all linked to each other by 1 or 2 degrees of separation. Some elites even sit on multiple boards at the same time. For example, Rochelle Lazarus sits on the boards of Merrick, GE, and Blackstone. John Huntsman sits on the boards of Hilton, Ford, Caterpillar, and Chevron. Timothy P. Flynn is the director at J.P. Morgan Chase, Walmart, Alcoa, and United Healthcare. Now think for a moment how all these corporations would seem totally unrelated to regular people. But that's just not the case. The board of directors report to the next level of bosses, the financial overlords. Now, all the public corporations in the West and much of the world now are controlled by large shareholders who are giant financial corporations. A study in 2011 showed that fewer than 150 corporations pretty much control all the corporations in the world. And some of these have recognizable names such as Barclays or JP Morgan. Other names such as State Street or AXA are hardly known outside the financial circles, yet they have incredible influence and wealth. You know, I oftentimes speak of the powers that shouldn't be. And I'll use an example, the mainstream media. You know, the mainstream media is controlled basically by 6 people. The entire mainstream media, 6 people. You know, this is the problem that we're grappling with, because people have this, you know, illusion of choice. It's not so much just in politics where, you know, you're given these candidates that all spew a bunch of crap and then they get elected and they do the bidding of the special interests. No. See, it's the same thing in the corporate world where there's about 150 people that run the entire world. And it's really amazing how it's been allowed to happen, because it really should never have been able to happen again. It happened once and they broke them up. And now it's happening again. Should never have been able to happen again. But we've seen this play out slowly but surely over the past 30 years or so through the institution of these free trade agreements, through these acquisitions, large companies buying up large companies to become mega companies, these mergers. It's unbelievable how easy we've made it for the control freaks to really make it possible for this level of control. And that's really what this is all about, you see. It's about controlling people. Think about it. In 2010, one of the most devastating decisions that the Supreme Court handed down was Citizens United. In Citizens United, they ruled that corporations were people and people were corporations. It's something that we already knew. However, the court affirmed it in an actual case. And what this means is corporations then have the same free speech that you have because they're people. And so they get free speech, which means you can't limit campaign contributions by corporations. You can't limit what they say or do, because if you do, by God, you're limiting their First Amendment. And that's what's happened. That's what that decision actually brought about. And it's asinine, but it really cemented their control over us in the United States, but it has far-reaching consequences in the world. These mega corporations are really one of the biggest problems that we have and that we face. And again, they've been brought about by our non-representing representatives who take the campaign contributions and then return the favor by turning the other cheek when they shouldn't probably do so. We're not going to find justice until these mega corporations are busted up and until we have these, I hate to say controls, but I don't understand how we can have a free market, a truly free market, because to me that's pie in the sky thinking. When so much corruption exists, I think the only way a free market exists is if you get rid of money. Until then, I don't know how you implement a total free market without people being taken advantage of. And I'd like to know what you think about it. So comment below. I'm Joe Joseph. This was the DailySheeple.com's News Shot. And I'll see you all again real soon. Have a great day, everybody.